Hello, I'm Anya Manita, and welcome to Watch Twice, a series where I watch your favourite anime not one, but 2 times, and offer my thoughts and takes on what makes it brilliant. This episode is the romance, slice of life, and drama anime Toradora. If you haven't watched Toradora, do that now, because this video covers the entire anime. Please don't have this anime spoiled, it's incredible. Just a heads up, this video focuses mainly on Taiga and Ryuji's relationship. Anything more than that, and this video would be hours long. After watching Toradora twice already, I've had a long time to think about why this anime works, and a few key things come to mind. To begin with, the character depth and emotion in this anime is second to none, and that's only complemented by the animation, which feeds into their character design and is made unique through their personalities. But I think most importantly, over everything else, the brilliance in Toradora comes from the meantime, the spaces between the action and conflict and plot. The hundreds of small moments Taiga and Ryuji share before anything goes on at all. Toradora has a simple premise. The main characters Taiga and Ryuji are 2 hugely misunderstood people, with so much to offer and yet none of their classmates seem to appreciate their good qualities, and instead opt to insult the 2 for their looks and behaviours. Ryuji is viewed as a bit of a delinquent. He has fierce looking eyes and unfriendly figure, whilst Taiga is seen as a bit of a troublemaker, attacking and breaking into a fit of rage whenever things don't go her way. She seems to attract a negative connotation. The 2 first meet by bumping into each other in the hall, leading to a fight in which Taiga assaults Ryuji. In fact, she beats the hell out of him. And you know, watching this for the second time, I realised that this kind of sets the precedent for their relationship and the conflict they seem to get into down the road. Through a misunderstanding on Taiga's part, Ryuji takes his school bag home, but unbeknownst to him, Taiga has slipped a love letter into his bag meant for Ryuji's only friend, Kitamura. Ryuji later attempts to read the letter, only to find that Taiga forgot to include the note in the first place. Which is true to character, as she is often a bit aloof through the series. Taiga, with no knowledge there was really no letter at all, breaks into Ryuji's home and beats the hell out of him again, with a sword. Obviously, Taiga is upset that she made such an error, and so Ryuji tries to cheer Taiga up by admitting to her that he likes Kushieda, Taiga's best friend. And through a weird twist of fate, the 2 strike a deal to help each other find success with their love interests. And that's the long and short of the plot for the first half to last quarter of the anime. Throughout the first 12 episodes or so, the 2 spend an incredible amount of time together, figuring out how to best create situations with each other's love interest. And through this, they kind of accidentally create a safe space for each other, which they can rely on when problems arise. I guess what I'm getting at is they kind of become a family really early on. They have a home comfort kind of closeness between each other that completely blows over anything you could obtain, at least within the time frame they have known each other. They share meals, they walk to school together, and since they live close by, they're never really far away from each other at all. This is a bigger aspect to the anime than you might initially understand, as the issues plaguing their own families haven't really been mentioned yet. Speaking of which, Ryuji and Taiga both have serious family problems. Taiga has a deadbeat father who through the entire series you come to understand uses her for his own whims, on his own terms and to no benefit for Taiga. Her mother is slightly better but could use a few lessons on how to address her daughter. It's because of this that Taiga is lonely. She lacks any kind of family connection towards anyone. Ryuji, on the other hand, never had a father and hasn't even met his grandparents. He hates his dad for giving him his looks and for not being in his life, rejects his association to him whenever he is mentioned. He has a good mother and it's obvious they love each other and share a good relationship, but she works late shifts and often leaves Ryuji having to support her more than she is supporting him. This is why their dynamic is so important. Neither of them have had any truly stable figure in their life, and so their closeness at home is crucial. If you want an example of how quickly they become part of each other's lives, you only need to look at episode 2, where Taiga says this to Ryuji. And it becomes very obvious just exactly what they mean to each other. This is one of the reasons Toradora is brilliant. Unlike many anime of this genre, their appreciation for each other comes from a deep, meaningful place, and it drives them to be better. It doesn't cheap out on why they like each other, it is deliberate and precise as to why they have good chemistry. Another way that Toradora shows its brilliance is the way that the two show their affection with each other and how this subconsciously informs you about their relationship. Yes, they may have a safe space for each other and have a shared family experience, but often it's how you communicate affection which really matters in a relationship. And for Taiga and Ryuji, this comes in the form of surface level teasing and bullying. And I say surface level because they never really make fun of each other in a hurtful way, just to provoke a reaction. Even when one of the two gets annoyed, they will seemingly be getting along easily, but moments later. This is a good sign that neither of them take these spats seriously at all, which implies an understanding between the two that no harm was meant by what was said by the other in the first place. This dynamic is incredible. It takes a long time to develop this kind of relationship, even between friends, which shows their incredible chemistry and the godlike writing of the series writer. And it isn't long before we get to see this displayed in the open. Between episodes 7 and 8, Ryuji and Taiga are in the midst of preparing for a race between Taiga and Kawashima Ami, resulting from an argument between the two over Ryuji's attention. I suppose I should mention that Kawashima likes Ryuji, and that on my second watch, I realised that she's kind of a representation of the viewer, due to her incredible understanding of the dynamics between the main set of characters and the way she influences the story. During his race, several of his classmates fall into the pool right onto Ryuji, causing him to pass out and almost drown. In the next scene, Taiga says this. The scene is powerful and sheds a light on just how much she cares for him. This is smart placement from the writer, as it helps carry the momentum of the story forward in a scene which otherwise wouldn't have done so, through a relatively realistic and believable accident. If Kawashima Ami was to win, Ryuji would spend summer at her beach house without Taiga, and so the whole incident lays the groundwork for the beach house arc, as well as finding a way to include Taiga within it. However, this arc ends up not being too important, and not much really happens with the plot or progression of the anime, except two scenes in particular. The first being when Taiga and Ryuji dream about starting a family with each other, and Taiga hinting at the fact that she might not find this to be such a horrible future after all. The other notable plot point is when Ryuji and Kushieda talk about whether she has had a boyfriend, but as this isn't really related to Taiga and Ryuji, I think it's best to ignore this scene, as it doesn't really do a whole lot for the story. The exact opposite of this is the Christmas party, which sets up one of the most incredible scenes in all of anime. This part of the story begins with Class 2C preparing for Christmas by planning a ball-styled get-together in the school's gym with decorations which Kawashima helps obtain through her connections with the modelling industry. Kushieda, due to her failing in her baseball competition, costing the team the match as well as knocking the Christmas tree over and breaking a window in the process, refuses to attend the party as punishment of sorts. But in reality, the reason she decides not to go is that she doesn't want to get in the way of Ryuji and Taiga getting together. Ryuji, hearing that she will not attend, tells her that he will not leave the party until she arrives. It is of both Ryuji and Kushieda's understanding that he intends to ask her out. However, as the party plays out, Kushieda doesn't show up, and so Taiga decides to go and convince Kushieda to attend the party before going home herself. It's important to note that Taiga didn't tell Ryuji anything about this, and in a stark realization, Taiga, a girl who previously stated that she loves Christmas, is alone at home with nobody to celebrate with, and so Ryuji rushes to her home to see her whilst he's dressed up as a bear pretending to be Santa. Taiga is elated and instantly knows that Ryuji is the one in the bear costume. She takes his headpiece off and they share a sweet moment together. After this, Taiga tells Ryuji to leave as she is convinced that Kushieda will go and see him, and so he reluctantly returns to the party, not wanting to leave her alone. Knowing that Ryuji is planning to ask Kushieda out at the party, and yet he rushed back to make sure Taiga experiences Christmas without being alone, really speaks volumes towards Ryuji's character, and, if you think about it, says a lot about his priorities. Ryuji could miss his chance to confess to Kushieda by doing this, but takes that risk to make sure Taiga is happy. It's an impactful scene which speaks for itself, and just when this anime lightens the mood, it flips you right back around again. Taiga, now realizing that Ryuji isn't there for her anymore, breaks down. This scene, where Taiga finally expresses her raw, unfiltered feelings towards Ryuji, broke me. I can't even begin to describe how incredible this was. I don't think anything else needs to be said about this, other than the voice actor, Rie Kugimiya, deserves a medal. In the background, Kushieda witnesses Taiga's distress, and in my opinion, as this isn't stated in the anime, she realised that Taiga has a much deeper affection for Ryuji than she ever had. It's at this moment that she decides that she can't take Ryuji away from Taiga. Upon meeting with Ryuji at the entrance of the party, she politely shoots him down. The second viewing of this anime really hits hard when watching Class 2C's school ski trip. I say this because it drops a subtle hint about Taiga. During the trip, Ryuji says this:
"It
may not seem like much, but this very moment marks a change in attitude for Taiga. It marks the point at which she has given up on Kitamura and is now focusing solely on Ryuji. From this point on, Taiga never shows any overreaction when Kitamura is around, like she did before, and instead treats him simply as a friend. She is all in at this point. Later in the school trip, Taiga falls down a hill and is lost to the rest of the class, before a blizzard retreats the rest of the cohort inside. Kushieda and Ryuji brave the storm in an attempt to rescue her, which is successful. Ryuji, noticing that she was potentially badly injured, carries her up the hill, and in a half-conscious state, she confesses to Ryuji, believing him to be Kitamura instead. After Taiga returns home from recovering from her injuries, Kitamura, Ami, and Kushieda hold an intervention of sorts for Ryuji and Taiga to push him into realizing he's in love with her, for her to finally admit that she wants Ryuji instead of giving up her own happiness for Kushieda's sake. After a lot of running around after Taiga, Kushieda confessing that she likes Ryuji, and Ryuji's own confession to Kushieda that he loves Taiga, Ryuji shows up where he knows Taiga will run off to, the small shop they were working together at in an earlier episode. After an argument with their parents, they run off to a nearby bridge. Here they talk about their family, knowing they can trust each other for emotional support, before Taiga literally pushes Ryuji off a bridge. I mean, I know she's clumsy and tends to overreact, but come on now. And after jumping in after him, they confess their love to each other. Or at least they would have done if they didn't get a call from Kitamura first. They then head to Kitamura's house, and after everyone talked about what the two were going to do, they decide to elope after their argument with their parents, theorizing that as Ryuji will turn 18 soon, they can get married legally without the consent of a guardian. The gang pitches in to help cover the cost until then, and the two decide to visit Ryuji's grandparents for the first time to ask for a place to lodge. In a strike of brilliance, they call his mother, pretending that he got into an accident, to reunite his mother with her own parents, succeeding and finally bringing Ryuji's own family issues to an end after over 17 plus years of them not seeing each other. This is a brilliant scene and really puts an emphasis on the importance of family, that no matter how long you may be apart, bonds of family don't deteriorate. Later at night, the two express how their plan of eloping wasn't really going to work, with Taiga admitting that she wanted to dream of a future in which the two elope together. In the moment, they have a practice marriage for the future and finally kiss. After returning home, Ryuji invites Taiga over for dinner, but she never shows up. She decides that even though she loves Ryuji, she needs to become a better version of herself and change so that she can give all of her love to him. Ryuji later finds the note she left for him, explaining that she had to leave. The next day at school, the others tried to get him to explain why she had left, but he had no words which could explain why, as this wasn't something that they had decided together. This scene is gut-wrenching and made me feel horrible for Ryuji and his friends, but it's also a very beautiful scene. In this moment, Ryuji and Taiga grew up a bit, and realized that they needed to fix some of their own problems and hardships before they could be together. This was the right decision for the author and story, and helps ground the anime in the real world in a fantastic way. But, as I'm sure you can all agree, I kind of hate this too. Now, if you didn't watch till the end of the last episode's credits, then the anime may have ended it for you. But if you did watch till the end, there was an after-credits scene which lifts the mood and gives us some optimism for their future. In this scene, Ryuji catches a glimpse of Taiga from the top floor of the school, and he rushes up to see if she was there. And in proof that Ryuji and Taiga truly belong together, he susses out where she was hidden in a heartbeat, and they are together again once more. And that's it, I guess. The only thing left to discuss is what could have made this anime better. That isn't exactly an easy thing to analyse, as this anime really is just that good. But there is one glaringly obvious fault which I would like to address. The ending was simply too rushed. The conclusion to this anime is an explosion of action which, in all honesty, contrasts heavily to the rest of the anime up to that point. It deals with Kitamura's feelings towards the student president, Kushieda and Kawashima Ami's relinquishment of love for Ryuji, Taiga and Ryuji getting together, as well as Ryuji's mother rekindling her relationship with her parents and his own first meeting with his estranged grandparents. That's all before considering that Ryuji realizing that he loved Taiga came sort of out of nowhere. We know from earlier moments in the anime that he obviously loves her, which is plain to see, but no definitive moment or experience was ever shown to us which proved it outright, unlike Taiga confessing in the ski trip scene. He also had a crush on Kushieda all the way up to like episode 24, where he finally admits that he likes her, but only after Kushieda tells the audience that Ryuji loves her first, which I'm sorry, doesn't really make any sense at all. If I was to change this ending, I would have instead dropped more definitive hints throughout the series highlighting his feelings towards her, or perhaps a couple more scenes focusing on his conflicting feelings between Kushieda and Taiga more clearly. That way the ending, and Taiga finally bagging Ryuji, would have felt more deserving in the end. That being said, this anime is a masterpiece. It doesn't really leave anything to be desired, its story beats hit incredibly hard exactly when they need to, and it's just so goddamn satisfying to watch and experience. And that's all I've got to say. There's a lot more of this anime that I could include, but the script is getting long, and this is already crazy for a first project. Thank you for watching my first video. If you like this, then please do all the stuff everyone else asks you to, like and subscribe and whatnot. Also, if you want me to watch your favourite anime twice, then leave a comment below of your suggestion, and turn on notifications to see if I end up reviewing that anime. Thank you all, and I'll see you all again in Watch Twice.